Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a sports betting perspective. With pro handicappers Alex B. Smith and veteran sports writer Jimmy Murphy. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. Thursday, January 6th, Ian Cameron will have Andrew McInnis, Jimmy Murphy momentarily, as well as we are ready for a Thursday NHL card, and it is a big one. Lots of games on tap. One of the biggest slates we've had really during this whole last, I guess you would say, month in terms of calendar time. Because of all the COVID disruptions, we have not had many days where you can say, yeah, there's 11 games on the board. Today is one of those days, and we'll get right to it. We'll start with the Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. Keystone State rivalry renewed tonight. Pittsburgh opened minus 190 road favorites. Now they're up to minus 220 road favorites here in this game against the Flyers. The total sitting at 6 pretty much across the board going into this game tonight between these two. The Penguins, of course, a comeback win last night against the St. Louis Blues by a score of 5-3. All of a sudden, their offense, Evan Rodriguez, one of the hottest forwards going right now in the NHL. What else can you say? He finds the back of the net again last night. Sidney Crosby gets a key goal in that game. 2 goals from Brian Rust as well. And we're seeing the Penguins all of a sudden get their offense going a little bit. Remember, this is a team that's won a lot of their games by playing pretty good defensive hockey and getting timely goal scoring, but they've definitely found ways to explode on the scoreboard in recent games. San Jose, again last night against the Blues, who were really playing well before suffering that loss to the Penguins. So give the Penguins credit. Definitely lighting the lamp a little bit more in recent games. They catch the Flyers returning home, obviously, off a road trip. That's usually a negative situation. Philly on the road facing Seattle, San Jose, LA, and Anaheim. During that 4-game road trip, they only won one of those games against Seattle. So it was not a really good road trip at all for the Flyers. Now they return home. Tough spot for them. Pittsburgh's just one of those teams now. They've won 9 in a row. You know my betting philosophy when it comes to teams that are on this kind of a win streak. I'm not looking to step in front of the streak. That's just the way I approach it with all of these, with any of these teams that are on this kind of win streak right now, like the Penguins are on. It looks like tonight, with the fact that Casey DeSmith started last night, you should probably see Tristan Jarry in net here in this game. Now, it is worth noting, Casey DeSmith was pulled last night. Jarry came in relief last night in that game against the Blues. So the question is, I think Jarry was probably initially slotted in to start this game tonight. But now do things change a little bit after Jarry had to come in and play last night with Casey DeSmith maybe fighting the puck a little bit. So remains to be seen. What we do know for Philadelphia is Carter Hart is back, but they are still very much ravaged. COVID protocol taking its toll on the Philadelphia Flyers. Claude Giroux, Sean Couturier, 3 starting defensemen for the Flyers. Nick Seeler, Travis Sanheim, Ivan Provorov, all out tonight. Travis Konechny, one of their top 2 centers, is also going to be out tonight for the Philadelphia Flyers. So this is absolutely a gutted team from a roster standpoint going into the game tonight. The bet I'm going to make here is the one that I usually target in a game like this. It's a manageable team total for the Penguins here, 3.5. Just focus on them probably finding the back of the net, which they've been able to do in the last few games. We've seen Pittsburgh score 13 goals in the last 2 games combined against the Blues and the Sharks. Again, they've now got that top line playing at a very high level the last couple games, talking about Crosby's line along with Gensel and Rust on that great top line. Evan Rodriguez has found his way into the second line because of how well he's played with Heinen and Kapanen. All of a sudden, you're seeing this team start to light the lamp a little bit. You've got Carter Hart in net, still trying to work his way back into, I guess, rhythm and some kind of form because he had been out for a period of time. And then you've got this ravaged Philadelphia team that, again, has multiple centers out, key forwards out, 3 starting defensemen along the blue line also out for this game. So rather than worry about what Pittsburgh does against the Flyers in terms of their defense. I think they're defensively, they're probably going to want to tighten it up a little bit, but I feel good about Pittsburgh being able to maybe find their way to 4 goals in this game. And with Philadelphia depleted the way they are, it's probably going to be a difficult challenge. Carter Hart, I would think, is going to face more high-quality rubber tonight at the hands of the Penguins, considering what he's without in terms of players in front of him. When you're talking about 3 starting defensemen, one of them being Provorov, that's an issue for the Philadelphia Flyers. Sanheim's also been pretty steady in the back end as well. And if you're already without Ellis as well for a long period of time. So this is a Flyers blue line that is going to be taking the ice tonight with, here's their 4. Cam York, who? Yeah, exactly. Cam York is now going to be on this blue line, promoted to the active roster. He's 20 years old. He's making his season. He actually came in the game the other night against Anaheim. This will be his second game. Cam York, you've got Kevin Connaughton having to take more minutes. Keith Yandle's going to have to get more minutes for Ristolainen. There's definitely some depth concerns now with the Flyers cropping up with the absences on the blue line. So I'm going to go with Pittsburgh here. Team total over 3.5, which you can get at -115 to -120 in this game right now. All right, next up, we've got San Jose and Buffalo. San Jose -120, road favorites, 6 the total, pretty much across the board in this one. The Sharks definitely not playing good hockey as of late, certainly since the break. And another thing we've noticed too with San Jose is James Reimer has suddenly gone into the tank in a bad way for the San Jose Sharks. This has been a pretty bad stretch for him, so much so that Bob Bugner's given him a break tonight, and he probably needs it. And they'll go to Aiden Hill in between the pipes tonight against the Buffalo Sabres. With Reimer struggling, with Reimer fighting the puck a little bit, and now Reimer's got a lower body injury as well. So maybe that had something to do with it in terms of the struggles. Maybe he was battling some kind of injury that's now been exacerbated, and they're going to put him now on the injury list for at least the short term. So you're going to see Aiden Hill tonight for the San Jose Sharks. They've also got some key absences as well. We talked about in the recent games how Balcers, Couture, Kevin LeBanc, have been out of action for the San Jose Sharks. Now Erik Karlsson as well. Not going to play tonight for San Jose in this game. Buffalo, though, definitely a little bit depleted and shorthanded as well. Anders Bjork, Robert Hagg on the blue line. The 2 Vegas Golden Knights players that they picked up in the Jack Eichel deal, who they just finally got in the lineup and on the ice in recent games, they're both out for the Sabres tonight as well. Peyton Krebs and, of course, Alex Tuck. Both of them not going to play tonight. Drake Caggiula, Casey Middlestat, Kyle Okposo, also on COVID protocol for the Buffalo Sabres. But all that being said, I still lean a little to Buffalo here in this game. Just not liking what I've seen from the Sharks. The Sabres, again, I don't like who's out for them at the moment, but I think this is definitely a winnable hockey game for them. They've lost 4 in a row. They've struggled, but they took Boston to overtime 4-3 in their last game. Could have beat New Jersey and lost that game at home 4-3. Let's not forget they've also beaten Minnesota and Winnipeg over the last month, 2 pretty good hockey teams. So with Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in net for the Sabres, I've still, for the most part, liked the way his game has been since he's been in the net here for the Buffalo Sabres. 2.54 goals against average, .927 save percentage. He has a 2-5 record in his 7 starts this year. But even in the losses, the 5 losses that Luukkonen's had in net for Buffalo, the team has been right there and had a chance to win these games. So you really can't fault him, even on the nights where the Buffalo Sabres have come up short and not been able to get the job done. So to me, it's just, I'm not laying a price on the road with this Sharks team. I've talked about how they are poised for some regression, primed for some regression. We've already seen it with Reimer's play. We've seen it with their defensive play. And now without Couture and Balcers and LeBanc and some other forwards up front, you're not seeing San Jose scoring quite as much as they used to either. So even with the absences for Buffalo, I like Buffalo here at the home underdog price in this game with the Sharks' issues at the moment. Again, it's a leap of faith with Buffalo because they're beaten up and beleaguered and shorthanded and depleted and all those words I like to use quite a bit as well. But there's issues with San Jose right now. So It would be Buffalo for me at this price, slight home underdog. We got Andrew McInnis with us now on this Thursday edition of the show. Andrew, welcome in. This is a great card. It's a great day for NHL
Big
fans,
card.
bettors, 11 games. We haven't had many of these days in the last month with the COVID disruptions where we can say we have an 11-game card to break down. We have that today. We've talked about the first two games, Andrew. Keystone State battle, Flyers and Penguins, and the Sharks and the Sabres. What are your thoughts on those two games?
I don't really buy into the back-to-back issues at all with Pittsburgh. I like them, and I like them to win on the puck line here. But I do like the over in this game, and it's funny because I've preached that I like the defensive play from the Pittsburgh Penguins, and that's one of the reasons why I placed that 12-1 future on them to win the Eastern Conference. And you look at several of their past games, even before that San Jose game 2 games ago, a lot of low-scoring games. Like I said yesterday on the show, it was 8 of their last 10 was 2 goals or less allowed. But I do expect Philly to give up, to put up forward a decent effort here. There will be some, I think, a little bit of a letdown, I guess, after the big game we saw from Pittsburgh last night. You're down 3-1, you win that game 5-3. That's incredible. So I look towards the over in that game, but I do think Pittsburgh gets the job done. San Jose, Buffalo, look, there's so many games today. And the funny thing is everyone looks at, oh my God, it's a massive slate. I got to bet the board. To me, it's an opportunity to kind of decipher where can I find my favorite spot here. To me, it's dog or pass in this game, Ian. I think you might have said the exact same thing, but I have no action on that game.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you or anyone not betting San Jose Buffalo. It's a tricky game. Both teams are banged up. Neither team's playing all that great right now. I think it is an opportunity though for Buffalo. It's really a price play in this point because San Jose is just fighting it right now, not playing well at all. When you're giving up 7 goals, to Arizona, and you're getting behind 6-1 in the first period against Pittsburgh, and Detroit is shelling you defensively. Like the Red Wings did the other night. I cashed with Detroit the other night against San Jose as well. So to me, there's a fade team right now, the San Jose Sharks. It's just hopefully Buffalo's good enough to get the job done, even with the missing parts they have right now. All right, let's continue. We've got Columbus and New Jersey. New Jersey minus 150, home favorites in this game, 6.5 the total. I hate to say this, guys, because I have a side and total in this game. I'm on the Devils and I'm on the over. And unfortunately, we've seen huge price adjustments now with both. I mean, when I took New Jersey earlier today, I got them around minus 145, and now it's up to minus 155, minus 160 in some spots. But I still like the Devils here. The Blue Jackets, it goes without saying how many issues they've got defensively right now. You're on the bad side of history when you're one of the few teams, I think the only team in NHL history, to give up 7 goals in back-to-back home games. That was Columbus against Carolina, the meltdown to the Hurricanes on Saturday. The Lightning lit them up like a 2-week late Christmas tree the other day in that game, 7 goals. And look, they are really up against it. They don't have a good blue line to begin with, Columbus. They've not been good at keeping pucks out of their own net all year. And now they've got some injuries to Werenski and Bayreuther on that blue line. And now they've got 2 goalies, Tarasov and Merzlikins, unavailable. And that means you got to go to Korpisalo every game, who's had a terrible year for the Columbus Blue Jackets, continues to struggle in between the pipes. Korpisalo, again, now 4.58 goals against average and .863 save percentage since the end of October. Those are his numbers. Think about that. Just think about that for a second. 4.58 goals against average and .863 save percentage. Those are unsightly numbers. They are absolutely horrendous numbers for Korpisalo here. So this feels like this. I was tempted to go in with with Devils over 3.5 team total as well. Like I was thinking triple up here. All 3 in this spot. Because the one thing the Devils have been able to do is score. Like even against the Boston Bruins, and it helped us with the over there, even though the Devils lost to Boston the other night. I was impressed, with no Hischier and some of the guys they had out due to COVID issues, that they got 3 goals. They got chances. They buried some of them. Jack Hughes continues to play well. All of a sudden, watch out for that goal-scoring dynamo that is the blue liner, Damon Severson. For the New Jersey Devils. He suddenly scored in back-to-back games for them. The good news for New Jersey is they'll have Hischier back tonight. It looks like Zaka is still out. Andreas Jansson's still out. Sharon Govich is also still out, along with Dougie Hamilton. But still, at least having Hischier off the protocol list tonight and in the lineup should help Jersey here. So this is Jersey for me. I would say now, if you haven't bet them yet, go in regulation instead. Get a better price around even money. And even at 6.5, because I got 6 minus 120 to the over. At 6.5, I still endorse it. I think we get 7 minimum here in this game. And I like over the total with two teams that are scoring and two teams that are. And look, that's the concern with New Jersey here. Their defensive play and Mackenzie Blackwood in net hasn't been very sharp and very good either since returning from the break. So goals in bunches, probably. This was actually the bet that stuck out to me. The first thing I noticed for the Thursday card was, man, we got to take New Jersey Columbus over. It was the first thing I noticed when I handicapped the Thursday card. So that's where we're going here, over the total. Devils in regulation, and I don't mind Devils team total over either in this one. Jimmy, we'll go to you here now since you're with us. Jimmy Murphy, welcome in. Tell us what you think of the first 3 games here. Pittsburgh, Philly, San Jose, Buffalo, and this one here, New Jersey and Columbus.
I'll start with the Pittsburgh Philly guys. I mean, who wants to step in front of that Penguins train right now, right? I mean, they look like they're ready to win their 10th in a row, and I think they will. The problem is you're not getting much value with that right now, but I'll start it right off with a Jimmy puck line there and take what I can get. Give me the Penguins minus 1.5, and the Flyers right now, I think, are in some deep trouble. They're getting to the point where they either need to decide, are we going to try and make the playoffs this year? Or are we going to just ride it out? And if they choose the latter, we're going to see some moves, I think, out of Philly soon. So that's what's going on with that game. And San Jose, Buffalo, I'm feeling Buffalo tonight, guys. I don't like the defense I've been seeing from the San Jose Sharks lately, and I don't really bet on the Buffalo Sabres that much at all. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I just got a good feel about this for them. I think they've been playing a little better. They're not putting together any big win streaks or anything, but there has been some good signs there, specifically from their young guys. And I think with the way the defense is for San Jose, they can step up and take that. And then this one, guys, I'm with you. I see a lot of goals. I'm going to go the first period over and the total over for Jersey and Columbus.
There you go. Right to the point there, Jimmy Murphy. Bang, bang, bang.
Let's go.
Rapid fire,
which
is a good thing when we got 11 games on the card. Andrew, what do you like, Jackets and Devils?
Well, yeah, the funny thing is, I think we all hate 6.5. So I don't want to put words in your guys' mouth, but 6.5 are just annoying compared to 6s. And we were talking about this yesterday on the show, I think, about the movement and probably expecting to see a lot higher totals coming up. But I'm not too bothered by it in that game here with Columbus and New Jersey. And to your point, Ian, about switching to regulation, I would agree with that. The price has gotten a little bit crazy. But because of the way the price has gone as far as New Jersey goes, I'm just going to stick with the full game over here, over 6.5. Mm-hmm. I do believe Columbus has some fight in them, and I don't think it's going to be just an absolute, blowout by any means. So I do think we're going to see a little bit of action on both sides, and we will get up and over 6.5. So, those stats you just read, talking about the goaltending injuries and everything else there with Columbus, it's a huge factor. Let's not forget, though, Tampa Bay, they were motivated big time. They lost 3 straight games. It was 1 against Florida and back-to-back against the Rangers. So they played a hell of a hockey game as well. Vasilevsky stops 20 of 22. That was a big game for Tampa Bay as well. And the good news is for Columbus, New Jersey, it ain't no Tampa Bay. Now, I don't say the word ain't very often. I don't usually like to use that word, but they aren't Tampa Bay. Okay, so I think that we're going to see Columbus be able to put the puck in the net at least a couple times. And I always say it takes 2 to tango for an over, and I feel like we will get something out of Columbus tonight.
All right, next, I agree. I think there'll be a lot of goals here as well. Next up, we got Minnesota and Boston, one of the better games on the slate tonight. We got the Boston Bruins minus 150 here as home favorites, the total 6 across the board in this game. Minnesota, still the key with some absences in the lineup right now to deal with going into this game, and a struggling team. Dean Evison just got rewarded with a contract extension. Well, now he's got to navigate his way through his first little bit of turbulence here with the Minnesota Wild. 5 straight losses for the Wild going into this game. So they need a slump buster, this team at the moment. And I was not impressed with the Winter Classic effort against St. Louis. I thought there was way too much. I don't know what it was. It looked like they were just disconnected for the first 2 periods. They didn't seem to match the Blues' focus, intensity, execution. It seemed like the Blues had the puck, for the entire first 40 minutes of that game. It took Minnesota being down 6-2, after the first two periods to finally get some kind of life out of them in response. That really troubled me about Minnesota the other night against St. Louis in the winter. You're supposed to be able to match St. Louis. This is the Winter Classic, and you're hosting it. So how did you come out like that and play that way in the first 40 minutes of that game? It was really surprising to see that for a team that had lost 4 in a row as well going into that game. You thought the urgency would be there. You definitely didn't see it off the opening puck drop. Now, again, they do have some key people out. They missed Joel Eriksson. That guy had been a good goal scorer for them. Secondary offense. Jordan Greenway, a good, hardworking, tenacious, forechecking type forward, lays the body on you. And now Cam Talbot is out for this game as well for the Minnesota Wild, which means Kaapo Kähkönen is probably going to be the starter here for the Minnesota Wild tonight in this game. We'll see how he performs in between the pipes. His numbers this year aren't bad, 4-2. 2.68 goals against, 906 save percentage. Talbot actually been fighting the puck a little bit lately, so not playing as well as he did earlier in the season. So we'll see what Kähkönen can do here in net for the Minnesota Wild. Swayman will be in net as announced for the Boston Bruins tonight. Boston, they've got their own issues. Jake DeBrusk tested positive for COVID-19. He's out. Charlie McAvoy out now as well for the Boston Bruins tonight. So they're a little bit short-handed. Obviously, they're one of their best, or if not their best defenseman. And of course, DeBrusk had been playing better lately before his COVID positive test. So definitely concerning there for Boston. Guys, I got to take Minnesota here at the price. I mean, the price that's being offered here at plus 130, I get it. They've lost 5 in a row, kind of going against my usual theory of when a team's on a losing streak, I don't bet on them. Or when a team's on a winning streak, I don't bet against them. Kind of going against that by doing this. But this is all about Boston minus 150 against a good team. I will repeat with Boston. Here's the Boston Bruins now lately. The 3 wins were New Jersey, Detroit, and Buffalo. All right, here in the new year for this Boston team. I mean, that's the Sisters of the Poor on their schedule right there that they beat in the last 3 games. So I'm not going to make a big deal out of that. They ended up losing to the Islanders. They lost to Vegas. They lost to Vancouver. They lost to Tampa. You get my point. Boston against better teams have had trouble winning games this year. They just haven't. They've beaten up the weak, and they've struggled in the step-up in class games. That's been the Bruins' season so far this year. And with Minnesota, 5 straight losses. They're going to give some of these young, highly touted prospects a look in the lineup tonight. We're expected to see the debuts of both Marco Rossi and Matt Boldy for the Minnesota Wild. Both of these guys, first-round picks in the last few years in the draft for Minnesota. Sometimes that youthful energy, guys that have skill, guys that have talent, guys that you expect to be impact players for your franchise for years to come, when you get them in the lineup for the first time, that sometimes sparks the team when you see that. Wouldn't surprise me to see it lead to Minnesota bringing it tonight and maybe getting the victory as well. So I like Minnesota here, road underdog price, plus 130. The one concern is they're 0-6 against Boston, the last 6. I did notice that. They've had a rough time facing the Bruins, but guess what? Those were better Bruins teams. And I think Jimmy will back me up on this. Those were better Bruins teams than this current version of the Boston Bruins in my mind. So I like Minnesota here, and I'm also leaning over 6 as well with the Bruins and the Wild. Both of them have been trending over lately. Jimmy, what do you think here? Wild, Bruins.
Yeah, I mean, I get, some of the injuries for the Wild and why they could be an underdog. I mean, I guess I can buy that a bit, but really, this number? I mean, what are they watching that we're not? You just said it. I mean, kudos to the Bruins. I mean, they're beating the teams they should, and they are in a win streak right now, and they seem to have found their scoring depth. But let's not get carried away here. I mean, those were cupcake schedules there, cupcake teams. So the Bruins, I think, come into this. I think it's a bad recipe right now because I think, there's a solid chance that some of the Bruins start to think maybe like the odds makers are thinking, that this is a game they should win, not that a game that they could steal. Is the way I look at it, because I think Minnesota is a much better team, even with their injuries. And also, I want to point out, too, guys, they're bringing 2 young kids into the lineup tonight, Marco Rossi and Matthew Boldy. Baldy, a former Boston College star from the Massachusetts area, big Bruins fan. He's revved up right now to make his NHL debut. at TD Garden. And Rossi is too, after everything he went through with the heart condition he suffered from COVID. Those are good gold props right there, I think, for the Minnesota Wild. If you want to take a chance, you're going to probably get some great value. But as far as the game goes here, I'm going Jimmy reverse puck line. Give me the Minnesota Wild. I like a 4-1 victory for them over the Boston Bruins tonight.
Yeah, this kind of feels like that Calgary game earlier in the year where Boston was at home and it was a Western. I noticed that too. The Western Conference teams, when they come into the TD Garden, Bruins kind of get that lethargic sleepwalk type of performance out of them.
And Ian, you're psychic because, I'm finishing up my preview here as I do this with you guys for the game tonight. And the last time the Bruins had a 3-game win streak was that game against Calgary. That was their next game. And here they are with another 3-game win streak. And what do you know? There's a good Western Conference team that I don't think the Bruins really match up against that style right now. This team can bang too. So I don't like this at all for the Bruins. I like what they've been doing lately, but like you said, it was an easy schedule to start out of the break.
Yeah. And again, 5 straight losses for Minnesota. Shame on them if the urgency is not there tonight for them.
Yeah.
I would expect it to be, though. Given their situation. Again, when you get these young kids, Rossi and Boldy making their debut, you're going to see, I think, that spark everybody. Like next to Kaprizov, who was, of course, signed long-term in the offseason, these are the 2 guys that Minnesota's been waiting on and waiting for to finally get this NHL look with the big club.
And Rossi's going right to the second-line center slot. Yep. I mean, right. So obviously they got a lot of faith in him.
I like seeing that stuff. It's cool to see that, Jimmy?
Yeah. Yeah,
there's no doubt. And just give them the confidence, right away. Dean Evison says, you guys are talented. You know what you can do out there on the ice. We're not burying you on a 4th line. We're giving you opportunities. We're going to give you minutes. We're going to give you opportunity. They're probably going to get power play time tonight for the Minnesota Wild. That's how you instill confidence in young players. Well done by Dean Evison here. Great coaching there to do this and give them meaningful minutes and meaningful positions in the lineup. Andrew, what do you think here? Minnesota-Boston.
Well, very similar to you guys. I think that, as far as price goes, you got to look towards the Wild. There's value, and the word value gets thrown around so much. But coming off that Winter Classic letdown for them, where they still fought through the full 60 minutes, but they couldn't quite get there. I thought it was still a good effort from the Wild, and getting 2 younger guys in the lineup, and both you guys did a great job mentioning that. And what Jimmy said about having a player slot in the second line, it kind of reminds me of kind of like Cole Caulfield with the Montreal Canadiens. They don't want a guy like that, especially with how small he is, playing the 4th or 3rd line. He's either up there and on the top 2 lines, or he's not there at all. And I think it's really good to see those guys get up there in the lineup. I do like that. I like the over a little bit too, guys. I think we're going to see some goals from both teams here. But one play I'm on as far as a prop goes for tonight, David Pastrnak to score a goal here, plus 150. It was 9 straight goals without a goal. 9 straight games, without a goal from Pasta. He got on the board last game. I tweeted out about 1 billion pasta and spaghetti emojis on Twitter. Hopefully we can hit it again. David Pastrnak plus 150 for me.
It's good value for him. He's going to get hot.
And that's the old theory we've said on this show. Like, we've been doing this show for 5 years. Hard to believe, but a lot of the things we've said on this show in the past is when you got a good forward, a talented player, talented goal scorer that goes in a drought, goes in a rut, and then they finally get that goal to snap the skid. They sometimes get on a run, and you can see just the floodgates open for those kind of players. And maybe that's going to happen here now for Pastrnak after he snapped his goal-scoring drought the other night against the New Jersey Devils, and a big goal too. It was the eventual game-winning goal in that game, 4-3 in the final 5 minutes. So,
Jimmy, do you say pasta or pasta? Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
He doesn't say anything right now.
I think it's a mass thing from what
I've heard. I'd say pasta.
Pasta, yeah. I dated a girl from Newton, Mass, and she said pasta and made fun of me for calling it pasta.
It's a whole East Coast, though.
Yeah.
But I noticed when I lived in Montreal, you have a lot of, I don't know, I guess it's a Canadian thing. You guys say pasta, huh?
No, it's just Massachusetts. I've talked to a lot of other people in the States well, maybe not just Mass, but yeah, it's funny. Nobody that I've ever met in Mass has ever said pasta. Everybody says pasta. And it's I just love it because everybody says things differently. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
Because every announcer, the commentators, if you watch Jack Edwards, pasta, and then the other guys from like San Jose, they call him Pasternak. They just have no pronunciation at all.
Yeah, Pasternak. Yeah, I've always said David Pasternak, and not
Pasternak,
Knack, knock. Like
Yeah.
knock on
He
the
says
door.
Pasternak, so we'll just go with what David says.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's his name. It's his
Well,
name.
same with
so-
Nazem Kadri. There's people that
Oh,
say
yeah.
Nazem Kadri, but I go
Yeah.
Nazem and Kadri, not Kadri. So there
Yeah.
you go. I mean, that's perfect example. There's millions of those examples,
Yeah.
especially with names in the NHL, player
Speaking
names.
of, he's on fire.
Yeah.
Where you can go with that, no doubt. And by the way, how good, we'll get to it Saturday's show, which of course we're here on the weekends. We don't go away on weekends. We're here for you on the Ice Guys on the weekends. How good on Saturday is Toronto, Colorado going to be? I mean, my goodness, that game is going to be terrific on Saturday night. And of course, we'll break it down Saturday on this show. All right, Calgary, Tampa Bay. We got Tampa Bay minus 175, minus 180 home favorites here. 6 the total in this one. Daryl Sutter challenging his team after the loss to Florida the other night, saying, we're not at the level we need to be if we think we're a true contender. And he basically called out the team saying that, hey, I think we thought we were pretty good. And we kind of found out tonight maybe we're not as good as we think we are after that 6-2 loss to Florida. So a challenge from Sutter. Raise your game. You're playing good teams here. Florida, you're going to play Tampa Bay tonight. Another really good team. Let's see if the Flames respond to the challenge here after the loss to the Panthers the other night. So going to be interesting. How do they fare here against the Lightning? You got Tampa Bay after 3 straight losses, returning home 7-2, beat down over Columbus to end that road trip after losing back-to-back to the Rangers, and then the 9-3 shellacking at the hands of the Panthers. So much needed win to snap the losing streak against Columbus. We were all over that on this show the other day. I mean, we all like Tampa Bay puck lines, Tampa Bay team totals, you name it, against Columbus the other day, and it all came in. It just felt like the right spot, right? Teams lost 3 in a row. They're playing a team that ain't defending right now, that isn't keeping the puck out of their own net, and Tampa Bay took advantage of that in the 7-2 win over Columbus. We'll see how it goes here for Tampa Bay tonight against Calgary. I'm tempted by Calgary a little bit just because of the price. Like, this is another price kind of tempting lean for me with Calgary. I might even get in there with a small play on the Flames here. It's just a big number, and I think they're going to really want to respond with a better performance here in this game against the Lightning tonight after what happened against the Florida Panthers. And let's keep in mind, they still have a good road record this year, the Calgary Flames, 13-7 overall away from home. So I probably will have a small play on Calgary. I will have a bigger play. I hate to be we're all like that right now, and it's hard not to be with the way these games have trended in the over. There will be games that go under in the NHL. Maybe tonight this is one, but when you look at the recent form of both teams, Calgary's gone over in 4 straight. Tampa Bay is 5-1 to the over in their last 6 games head-to-head. The over is cashed in 5 straight games between the Flames and the Lightning. 5-1, 7-4, 5-4, 6-3, 4-3, the final scores in those games. I mean, when you see the over craze that is the NHL right now, you see both teams trending in their recent games to the over. You see these teams trending to the over in series history between one another. Hard not to say, yeah, I don't like over, or hard to say, yeah, I like under in a game like this. So I would go with over the total here, a 6 between these two. Jimmy, what do you think here? Flames, Lightning.
Yeah, I kind of sense the Flames bouncing back here a bit, guys. I really do. I know the Lightning have been playing better hockey as well, but I don't think this is going to be, anything like we saw with them in Florida. I think that's an anomaly. I think this Flames team is going to be a team to reckon with as we go down the stretch here. But it's a tough game to call, and I really do sense that we're going to see a tie at the end of regulation. So I'm going to go with the draw in this.
Look at things like advanced or expected goals, high danger chances. Calgary was good against Florida. Calgary had 49 shots. Sergei Bobrovsky was terrific in that game, and Markstrom wasn't good. Markstrom hasn't been all that
doesn't
great.
Happen now,
Yeah. Markstrom hasn't been great since the break, to be honest. He's had some decent moments, but he's also fought the puck a little bit. So that does concern me here when you're playing, obviously, a team like Tampa Bay. So we'll see if he can play better. But Calgary played well enough against Florida. Florida put their pucks in the net. Calgary didn't. that was the simple part of it. Calgary was generating the chances, but Bobrovsky was really, really sharp in net for Florida that night. I still lean Calgary here at this price. And like I say, with the total, it's for me, these teams are trending over with their recent games, and the series history's been trending over as well. So hard to look any other way. Andrew, Tampa Bay hosting Calgary.
Well, I'll address the comment we have live here. Rich talking about the old fade, the team with the star coming back. I don't think that really applies to a team like Tampa Bay, just because there wasn't really much juggling and shuffling that had to go on. There's not many teams in the league that you could have Nikita Kucherov on and have him out for several weeks and it not be that noticeable. It was noticeable, but it wasn't that noticeable. Him slotting in is just adding another gear to their team. It's kind of the way I see it. So look, I think that I'm a huge "what have you done for me lately" type guy. And I also don't really get as mad about losses as I do as, if it's a blowout. And look at Tampa Bay, 2 losses to New York. One of them wasn't that close. One of them was close, 4-3. And then that loss to Florida obviously was not pretty. But again, it's the Florida Panthers. I'm looking at recent wins here for the Calgary Flames, Seattle Kraken, big whoop. Chicago Blackhawks. I don't really care about that. Don't get me wrong. They've defeated some good teams. They've competed with some good teams. But with Cooch coming back, with Vasilevsky, not having a good game in his first game back after quarantine, settling in, stopping 20 and 22, I like Tampa tonight, so I'm on them. This is the thing, giving out picks and doing shows and stuff. I wanted to play them last night at -145. I knew that line would shoot up, so I had to wait till today. Because it's so high, I'm now on the regulation. So, hey, if I don't hit my regulation wager on Tampa, I hope Jimmy wins his tie.
I agree with that to some degree with Calgary. It's been a little bit of a light schedule in their last few games in terms of the victories that they've put together. Yes, Kucherov is back. I mean, that's just bad job by me not even mentioning that. But I just, when you're trying to get all kinds of info and data in. Yeah, exactly. Kucherov is back, and they figured he'd be back tonight or Saturday, but he's ready to go. He's cleared. They say he feels good enough to be in there, and he will be in the lineup for Kucherov, or Kucherov will be in the lineup here.
Guys, I want to add too. Let me throw in a gold prop on Blake Coleman for this game as well. Going to get a Stanley Cup ring tonight. Going back against his old team, who said, "Look, we got to part ways." It wasn't anything personal. It was obviously cap issues, but some motivation there for him to put the puck in the net. So let's see what happens.
Jimmy, Definitely. That is so awesome you said that. My buddy, before we started this show, he texted me, he's like, "Blake Coleman sniping one tonight." That is so awesome. I love that. Go. Yeah, it's a good angle, man. It's a good angle.
Good sign.
Yeah, definitely. But obviously, I mean, it's not like they need more scoring with Point and Palat and Killorn, although Stamkos may not play. He's day-to-day right now. Yeah. Game time decision, it looks like right now for the captain of the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight, Stamkos. So keep an eye on that. He may or may not play.
I have to announce an NHL thing that just came out. I don't know if you guys probably saw it. Jimmy, you might have seen it pop up or something. Nick Ritchie has just been waived. Yeah. He's just been waived from the Maple Leafs. 1 goal in 30-something games. Wow.
I thought he was going to be the next Hyman.
Yeah. I thought.
You know what the problem is? No, you didn't want to listen. There's a lot of other guys that have played like their next Hymans. Michael Bunting, and now Ilya Mikheyev's come back for them. And look at the Ilya Mikheyev's play since coming back is what made Ritchie dispensable.
Yeah. But hats off to Jimmy, because Jimmy, I think you had some good things to say about him, but also some bad things, I think. And I think that looking at the speed that Ritchie has, how does he keep up with Matthews and Marner?
That was the difference. And look at the other night there. How many times did he get caught behind the play? And I think that's one of the reasons, guys. Really, I think that was the nail in the coffin. Like, if you go back and really focus on his game, he was nowhere to be found when he was out there. He was always behind the play. He was roaming. If you're that slow, you can't roam because you're never going to catch up. You're already behind the play. So I wasn't surprised by that.
I'm telling you right now, you guys. The Leafs right now look dynamite. There's no other way around it. They look absolutely phenomenal. And it's at the point now where if this is another godforsaken first-round playoff exit for this team coming up in the spring, Leaf fans are going to be looking for that. I hate to be cryptic, but it's like they're going to be looking for the nearest bridge.
They're going to become half chance.
Seriously, yeah.
Oh, I'm going to be a Florida Panthers fan in the first round. That's what I'm going to be. Go Panthers, go.
If they're putting together this kind of regular season again now, and they're doing it against a tougher schedule now. Remember, it was the Canadian division last year. Now they're playing everybody. So you're getting to play your Floridas and your Tampas and, a lot of other good teams this year. And if they have run it up and continue, and because they look awesome right now, but they have this great regular season and they spit the bit again in the first round.
I don't think it's going to happen.
The fan base, could you imagine it? Could you imagine it?
I think Florida could beat them, but I think this is the best team the Leafs have had in a few years.
Yeah, guys, and there's something to be said about complete heartbreak the year before. I've seen it twice here. I saw the Red Sox lose in heartbreaking fashion to the Yankees, then go down 3-0 in that series, 4 and come back and win that. And I saw the Boston Bruins blow a 3-0 lead in 2010 to the Flyers and then come back and make that run in the Stanley Cup. I don't think those following seasons happen or end in championships without the heartbreak they suffered the year before. And I think that's what's driving the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. That's why I think this will be different.
But wasn't that the same story last year? I mean, it's been since I was 10 years old. I haven't even been on. I don't even think it's been 13 years.
Yeah, but 3-1 to the Habs, you're up, and then
that's different. That's different. Yeah, that's
your arch rival. I mean,
pain personified. Yeah, that was.
But to your point, Ian, and this is coming from a Habs fan, not getting that done for them in the, they called it a Mickey Mouse division. And then the Habs ended up, coming out of it and beating Vegas. But for them not getting it done in the North Division, now they might have to play a team like Florida. That's what it's looking like. Isn't I think right now that's what the playoff picture is. Florida, or it might end up being Tampa Bay. Those are not easy teams to play in the first round. That's for sure.
No, you're not going to have an easy first round. You're probably not going to have an easy first round game if you're the Leafs. You're right. You're going to get someone pretty competent that if you don't play well, they can beat you. And if Matthews and Marner go into the tank in a first round series like last year, that they definitely can beat you. So, that's the thing you worry about for sure if you're Toronto. Great point. Great comparison by Rich in our chat, who has been with us every day in the chat lately. We appreciate him. I think he's only found the show over the last month or so, but thank you. We appreciate it. Rich is always with us here. Saying Tampa Bay was swept by Columbus, and look what's happened since. Yeah, you need that bitter, painful. Yeah, the year they won the President's Trophy and they dominated the regular season. Yeah, there's definitely parallel.
Yes,
Tampa getting swept by Columbus, bouncing back. Toronto running through the regular season last year and then losing to Montreal after a 3-1 series lead. So good comparison there. Maybe it's just it fueled them so much, that loss last year, that maybe they've learned from it. The Leafs, but we'll find that out in April. We've still got months to go before we get there. All right, but where we got to go next is the next game, Florida, Dallas. We've got Florida minus 130, road favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. It would be Florida or nothing for me. I mean, your guess is as good as mine what Dallas is going to do tonight. They haven't played in forever off a long COVID-19 pause and layoff. Who knows how sharp they're going to be in this game tonight. And look, they've still got looks like a couple of absences potentially for this game, although it looks like Ben might still be good to go. Actually, it looks like Ben is good to go. Ben was the question mark for Dallas, whether he'd play, but it looks like he's good to go. So it actually looks like all hands on deck. This is about as healthy as the Dallas Stars have been in a while, but they've also been out of action for a while, and Florida's just found ways to win. Yeah, Bobrovsky in net, who was, as I just mentioned, outstanding in the win against Calgary the other night. He faced 49 shots and did a terrific job in that game. Braden Holtby in net for Dallas. He actually had a solid year for them. 2.44 goals against average, 922 save percentage. However, he does come into this game having lost each of his last 3 starts and a 3.4 goals against average during that span. So Holtby hasn't been quite as good lately here. I would still lean Florida here. This could be, because I think Dallas still at home is tough. Maybe they score a couple of goals, maybe to be safe, a team total instead on Florida. But even still at minus 130, there's too many question marks and there's more concerns. Like if you ask me right now, I think Dallas doesn't play well because of the pause more than, oh, they're rested. They play well tonight because of the pause. And they're playing a very good Florida team. So I would only look at Florida here, minus 130. Any thoughts, Jimmy, on Panthers and Stars?
Yeah, you can't step in front of this Panthers train right now, as far as I'm concerned. Kind of like the Penguins. I like the Panthers in this. I'm going to go Jimmy Puckline on the Florida Panthers.
You look at Florida too, coming out of the break, you guys. 4-9, 5-6. Those were the goals they scored in those 4 games. Yeah. 4-9, 5-6. That's why that team total 3.5 at a plus price. It's calling my name, I think. That Panthers team total tonight, over 3.5. Andrew, what do you like here? Florida, Dallas.
Yeah, short and simple for me. I'm riding what pretty much was really profitable for me last week. These teams returning their first game, first period over. Florida, Dallas. Look, there's some juice on it, but it's worth it. If it hits, it hits. Minus 140. Dallas, Florida, first period over 1.5.
Yeah, that's true. Off the layoff, defense is usually shaky, and that's the worst thing when a team hasn't played in a while. So, and you could see that definitely early in the game. So, over 1.5 first period for Andrew with Panthers and
It's crazy,
Stars.
guys. I thought that there were still some teams that I thought that we were done like a couple of days ago with the teams that haven't played a game yet, and then more teams just kept popping up. I forgot about,
Yep.
and then here the Dallas Stars are, and like Terry's saying, 17 days off, long time.
Yeah, there's still some, as well with Montreal among others. Well, Montreal's played one, I should say. They played since the break.
It was pretty much the Montreal Rocket, like we've called them.
Yeah, exactly. But there's still, teams that they've been out for a while here. So we'll end up and see. But Dallas, definitely. Dallas, they hadn't played prior to this game. Dallas's last game was December 20. That was their last game. So that's a long time ago since the last time we've seen the Dallas Stars in action. So like I say, and to Andrew's point, liking the first period over, it's usually been the defense that has struggled more for these teams that have come off the long pause and the long layoff. And it's been dictated in the results. So we'll see if that continues to be the case here tonight for the Dallas Stars, if they struggle a little bit at the back end, going on the defensive end of the ice going into this game tonight. Before we get to our next game, we want to mention, of course, DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NHL. Again, if you're a new customer, take advantage of this great offer because it is really something that you should be able to cash in on with DraftKings. New customers, you can bet just $1 on any NHL game, win $100 in free bets if either team scores a goal. It's that simple. If DraftKings Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings daily fantasy hockey contests. DraftKings giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN. Throw down $1 on any NHL game. Win $100 in free bets if either team scores a goal. That's promo code THPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Must be 21 years of age or older. Must reside in a DraftKings Sportsbook state. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Download the DraftKings app, sign up for an account, and use the promo code THPN. All right, Winnipeg, Colorado next up. We got Colorado minus 220, home favorites here, 6.5 the total in this game. Very simple. I like the over here, 6.5 even at 6.5 with these two teams. I like it. I still stand by my thought that Winnipeg is under Dave Lowry. They want to be a very aggressive team offensively. They want to move the puck quickly up the ice. They want to be attack-minded. And look, that's the way they want to play. And I don't know if they're going to revert based on the fact they're playing Colorado, who, of course, can play that way as well with the best of them. And obviously, Colorado, they've been magnificent of late, 7-1 in their last 8 games. They've been obviously gotten a lot healthier as well during this stretch of time. The only significant absence up front is Valeri Nichushkin. Other than that, they got everybody healthy. Landeskog, Rantanen, McKinnon. The blue line now is solidified for Colorado, which is great to see. An incredibly diverse, versatile blue line. Devon Taves, Cale Makar, Bowen Byram, Samuel Girard. Eric Johnson is actually healthy now as well. Ryan Murray. I mean, they got everybody. That's Jack Johnson's the one guy that's out for Colorado. So, and look, Winnipeg's last game with Arizona stayed under. That's more Arizona. Arizona, didn't want to trade chances with Winnipeg. Winnipeg, I don't think was all that sharp, all that locked in during that game against the Coyotes either. They will be, I think, in this game when Colorado is your opponent. So I think there'll be plenty of pace, plenty of chances, and plenty of opportunities for both teams to find the back of the net here in this game tonight. As far as goaltenders go in this one, Kemper's already been confirmed for Colorado, and certainly you would expect Connor Hellebuck to be in net for Winnipeg. But still like over the total here in this one, even at 6.5, because I think you're going to see these teams find their way to trading chances. And by the way, 3 of the last 4 meetings in Colorado between these teams have ended up going over the total. So I think we'll have a chance to see that happen here tonight in this one. As far as the side goes, I'm not involved, but I'm not stepping in front of Colorado at the moment. Jimmy, what do you think here? Winnipeg, Colorado.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, right? I mean, look, nobody's going to question that. We went over this yesterday. I mean, that was an amazing way for them to win the other night with that amazing Cal McCarr goal, and it was great, and the drama was great and all that. But, when you look at that game, guys, there wasn't a lot to like about this defense, who I agree with you, is so deep on paper, but they got really sloppy as that game went on, allowed Chicago to get back in it. So I'm right with you, Ian. I see a lot of goals in this. I'm not going to touch the side right now, but I'm going to do the first period over and the total over. I'm also going to take team total over for the Colorado Avalanche. So 3 overs.
There you go. First period over, full game over, and a team total for Colorado over, which is over 3.5 minus 130 with that right now. Andrew, Avalanche hosting the Jets.
Yeah, well, I mean, I mentioned it yesterday on the show that I emphasized it. These forwards for Colorado, they have to cover the blue line pretty much immediately, because sometimes these defensemen forget their defensemen and they jump in, as if they're a fourth forward. And I think that continuously backfires. If you look at the goals that get scored against Colorado, it's very rarely, 5-on-5 offensive zone type goals. It's always off the rush, off a turnover, a 3-on-2, 2-on-1 odd man. That's what happens to them. So I think in this instance, we've got 2 teams, obviously a divisional game, but one of these teams in Winnipeg, I think, is farther down in that list and then has not as many wins as I expected them to have this year. They've dealt with some injuries and stuff like that, but I like the over. Let's not try and reinvent the wheel here. Wash, rinse, repeat until we see a good defensive game out of Colorado.
And guys, too, I mean, Ian, you've been saying it a lot, that the up-tempo game they've been playing under Lowry in Winnipeg. So now you combine that with what Andrew was just talking about, with a bunch of Colorado guys pinching all the time, and it's going to be easy for that puck to go back in an odd man rush a lot tonight. So we could see a lot of that. I wouldn't want to be a goalie.
Yeah, and it's not like the Jets don't have forwards that can put a puck in the net, with Ehlers and with Scheifele and company. Definitely a lot. Dubois, who's playing much better this year. Connor, of course. Lots of firepower up front for the Winnipeg Jets as well. And the coach wants them to play more aggressive offensively, Dave Lowry. So this should be a fun one to watch here tonight with the Jets and the Avalanche here in this one. All right, we go to Chicago and Arizona. Chicago minus 155, road favorites, 5.5 the total in this one. This is actually there's not many games where I don't have a bet on it right now. This is one of them. Chicago and Arizona. I think Chicago wins. I don't hate Chicago in regulation. It's probably the way I'd lean in this game. I was impressed with their effort, even in a losing cause against Colorado the other night. DeBrincat played outstanding in that game. I certainly think Chicago's got the capabilities to beat this downtrodden Arizona team. But there's better opportunities, better bets on the board than in this game for me. So I'm going to pass with just a lean for Chicago in regulation here. Jimmy, anything here? Blackhawks, Coyotes.
Yeah, this is a Jimmy Murphy pass as well, man. I don't have a feeling on this. I mean, the Blackhawks weren't great defensively the other day either. No. And they, I think they took advantage of some weak defense, like we just said, to get back into that game. And then Arizona's Arizona. I don't know. Not a game I'm interested in.
Yeah, I'll say this, though, about Arizona. We do say that Arizona's Arizona, but the last 4 games, 1 goal loss to the Rangers, overtime loss to Anaheim, shootout loss to San Jose, admirable effort against Winnipeg. Hell, they had the net empty extra attacker to try to tie the game, Arizona, the other night against Winnipeg. So they've been hanging in games. So that's why I lean Blackhawks in regulation. But boy, I mean, it's not a sure thing right now. Arizona's been competitive.
That's a good point, Ian. I mean, obviously now we're getting in a time of year where guys are fighting for their jobs, right? And, you got guys pushing from below, or they could be on the trade wire. So, these players know that there's not going to be many people left on that NHL roster by the time this season's over. This team's going to get completely dismantled. They already are. I mean, Billy Arms is just stockpiling draft picks right now. So maybe a lot of these guys are trying to either impress the coach and management and say, I want to stay here, or maybe they're trying to increase their trade value. Who knows? But they know that their status is up in the air. So you might see a peskier team from Arizona going forward.
Yeah, and certainly she's seen evidence of that here in these last few games from them. Andrew, have you got anything here? Chicago, Arizona.
I have a really small play just on the over because number one, we don't really see low totals like this anymore. It's still at 5.5, I believe. Is it 5.5? We're seeing a lot of sixes on the board right now tonight, and it's kind of just following the theory that I've kind of been running for a while. When you have two teams that are kind of bottom of the pack, especially a team like the Coyotes, when you play a team like Chicago that's known to give up goals, I don't care what anybody says. Some might say players get up for, games if it was the Coyotes against, let's say, Tampa Bay or, a Colorado and stuff like that. But I think the Coyotes will get up for a game against Chicago because it's a winnable game. You're not playing a team that's going to absolutely dominate you. And look, I've never been an NHL player. I've never been an athlete at any, high level like that. But I know that these guys do know who they're playing. And if I'm in warmups and I'm skating around listening to music, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Tonight's a winnable game and if I'm an Arizona player, I think we'll see goals on both ends here. I think I like the over here, over 5.5.
All right, so a small bet at over 5.5 here for Andrew with Chicago and Arizona. It'll be interesting to see how they go, how this one fares here. But right now, again, keep in mind too with the Coyotes, it looks like they've got some players working their way back from the COVID issues they've had. It looks like Christian Fischer, Leah Bushkin, and look at your buddy out there on the East Coast, Andrew, Liam O'Brien, who was on the COVID list there for Arizona. Looks like he's back as well for them. So a couple of reinforcements, at least for the Coyotes. Higher chances of a fight taking place now, at least with Liam O'Brien back.
It's funny. Sometimes we would say, we would message, I got to be careful what I say, but we would always joke around saying, I wonder if we can find a fight prop somewhere. Will there be a 5-minute major somewhere if he's in the lineup? Last year especially when he was playing for Colorado, when he was getting in the lineup, we were like, all right, let's try and find any book we can to see if we can bet on a 5-minute major, because usually if he was in there, that's what he was doing. But he's kind of turned into a different role than just a fighter.
Yeah, definitely. A good one here coming up in the late night hours. New York Rangers and Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas minus 150, home favorites here. The total right now 6 shaded to the under in this game. When you look at it for Vegas, you got to be impressed with this team's effort. They've lost 2 in a row to Winnipeg and Nashville, but we talk about who they've been without, and still without, of course, Stone, Pacioretty, Alec Martinez on the blue line. Robin Lehner's also out indefinitely right now. And to make matters even, actually, Robin Lehner might be back he's back tonight and confirmed in nets for the Vegas Golden Knights. So good news on that front. Robin Lehner returning for Vegas, which is important because their backup goalie, Laurent Brossoit, is now day-to-day for the Vegas Golden Knights. So it would have been either go to the young kid Logan Thompson again in net had Lehner not been ready to return tonight, but it looks like Lehner will be in between the pipes here for the Vegas Golden Knights tonight in this game. Rangers have won 3 in a row. They suffered a tough shootout loss just before the Christmas break to this Vegas team at Madison Square Garden, 3-2. Shootout loss in that game. I like the Rangers here. I do. I think starting this road trip, they go through Anaheim and LA on this road trip following this game. They've won 3 in a row. They beat Tampa twice, which is very impressive. One of those games was in Vasilevsky's return to the lineup, and they shut out the Lightning 4-0 in that game, beat the Oilers 4-1 in their last game. I like the confidence level of this Rangers team. Ryan Strome, Chris Kreider, Mika Zibanejad. Don't look now, but Alexis Lafreniere is starting to get his game amped up again for the Rangers, which is good to see. I like the way their young blue line continues to keep on getting better, led, of course, by Adam Fox, K'Andre Miller. That Ryan Lindgren's pretty good, too. That guy is a punishing open ice hitter. I mean, that's what you notice about Ryan Lindgren's game as well for the New York Rangers. And, of course, you're backstopped by a guy that has obviously had one of the better seasons in the NHL from a goaltending standpoint this year in Igor Shesterkin. Georgiev was very good the other night against the Oilers, but I would expect Shesterkin to be back in net tonight for the Rangers. And, of course, he's had a magnificent season for New York overall this year. 15-4 record, .936 save percentage, 2.09 goals against average. Just eye-popping numbers for Igor Shesterkin in net. live road underdog, I think. And look, Vegas now, we've seen in 2 home games in a row, they can be beaten at T-Mobile Arena. And you're talking about Martinez on the blue line, Pacioretty and Stone up front. And when you play good teams, you can beat the weaker teams sometimes without some of those guys. It's harder to do it against some of the better teams. So at this price here, Rangers plus 130. Count me in with New York here in this one. Jimmy, what do you think here, Rangers and Golden Knights?
Yeah, I'm with you, Ian. I love the Rangers in this one. Look, I mean, let's not forget, Vegas has still got some injuries there. And the Rangers, like you said, are just on a roll. They're playing good, solid, sound hockey. You know, they're not cheating on plays, but yet they're still using finesse out there. You know, you can still get some really nice goals from some of these guys. And then their goaltending's been superb, and Gallant too. I mean, he's going to be revved up going into Vegas. He's going to want to win and beat his old team. And you got Ryan Reeves, who's returning to Vegas for the first time. Are we going to see him drop the gloves against one of his old teammates? That could be interesting. Might be a fun prop to throw down there. So, you know, I like the Rangers in this. I think this is a statement game for them. They're going out there, you know, playing a team that a lot of people think could come out of the West, and they could very well do that. But I like the Rangers in this one. Give me them on the money line.
Yeah, and no Panarin again for the Rangers, but they found ways to win without him the last few games. And that's because they've got that very, very good array of options offensively up front, where you lose Panarin, you lose the bread man, but you still have a bunch of other players that can make an impact for you. And the Rangers definitely have that. Yeah, I mean, and they came up short against Vegas in a shootout just recently at Madison Square. So, and they got a good road record. The Rangers have always been one of those teams. Even when David Quinn was coaching them, they were a better road team a lot of times. And they're 12-7 this year on the road. So a nice solid road record for the Rangers this year. And look, this is one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference right now based on where they are in the standings. They've earned it. Very impressed with what I've seen from the Rangers. Andrew, what do you think here, New York and Vegas?
Yeah, a lot to unfold in this game, a lot of emotional stuff. I think that, you know, I talk about, you know, these players being, you know, real humans just like us. They do regular things just like us. They have emotions, and they're going to be happy to be back. Reeves did a lot for the community. A lot of these fighters, it seems like they're the nicest guys out there, it seems like. And Reeves did a lot for the community in Vegas. You know, a lot of these guys in Gallant as well, you know, did a lot for the team. Great coach for them, I thought. Obviously, it didn't work out. But you look at just the price-wise, everybody seems to be shocked about this price. And, you know, I think that I actually might be a little bit on the other end, just because I kind of think that Vegas has more depth than people give them credit for. I think that it's not just one or two guys. It seemed like, I know you guys aren't saying this, but I know I've seen a lot of people saying, you know, no Stone, no Max. Okay, you know, Vegas is going to lose. I disagree. I think they're a lot better of a team than just two players, because if that was the case, they would, you know, they wouldn't win some of the games they do. And I know they have some defensive stuff as well, but I think they could win this game. But I'm going to look towards their team total here. You can get 2.5, or you can take a little plus price on the 3.5. But I think we'll see Vegas get some goals here tonight. Maybe you'll see a full game over as well. But I think we'll see Vegas get theirs. Just a matter of what New York can do, because I think Vegas is kind of being under talked about tonight.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Nicholas Waugh is one of the key guys that has been the reason why they've had some depth without Pacioretty and Stone. And he's a game time decision. And if you have no Pacioretty and Stone, now you have maybe no Nicholas Waugh, you know, then that could hurt Vegas a little bit even more, because Waugh's been one of those guys that stepped up. You're going to need Donov. You're going to need Marchessault, Smith, Carlson. Those guys are going to have a big night for you. So that's going to be interesting. Waugh's been one of those guys that's been a bright light for the Vegas Golden Knights with the absences they've had up front. And now he's a game time decision for the game tonight. So we'll see if he's able to suit up tonight for Vegas. But this is a very good hockey game. Looking forward to it here tonight, Rangers and Golden Knights. All right, Anaheim, Detroit. We got Anaheim hosting Detroit. Anaheim minus 130, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. Detroit with the win against San Jose, 6-2 in their last game. We'll see if they can carry that over here as they are about to go on the road here to face this Anaheim Ducks team. When you look at it for Detroit, they've not exactly played very well on the road this year. That would bother me here. 4-11 on the road for the Detroit Red Wings this year. And look, the Ducks, they went through a little bit of a rough patch, 4 straight losses Although I got to say, 3 of those losses, like the Arizona loss before the Christmas break was a bad loss. But the 3 other losses were Vancouver, when they were red hot in the first few games under Bruce Boudreau. Vegas was another of the losses. We know they're a good team. Colorado was another of the losses. They were a good team. So it's not like Anaheim's losing streak was against some bad teams. They were losing to quality competition. And now they face Detroit after snapping their losing streak with a win against Philadelphia the other night. They still have a bunch of absences. That's the one concern. I mean, they're absolutely ravaged at center ice, you guys. Adam Henrique, Derek Grant, Ryan Getzlaf, Sam Carrick, all centers, all out on COVID protocol for them right now. So that's concerning. But the good news is Trevor Zegras has been taken off the protocol list. He's exited COVID protocol and should be back tonight for Anaheim. That helps. So a lot of people betting Detroit here. I wouldn't be doing that. Especially with that 4-11 road record. And now with Zegras back, that's significant. Pair him with Terry, you maybe have enough there for Anaheim to overcome it. Didn't bet the game. It's a pass, but small lean for me to the Ducks now at the better number, because you could have gotten -145, -150 is where this was on Anaheim. And now you're seeing -120 to -125 on Anaheim. So there's definitely been a price adjustment. I think it's too big of a price adjustment at this point. Jimmy, what do you think here? Detroit, Anaheim.
Yeah, guys, I jumped on this puck line early this morning, and it is starting to change a bit there. But I just Anaheim's in better form to me. I know Detroit is up and down, but I just like Anaheim at home. I like even with some of the injuries they have. I know they're hurting up the middle, but still with these young guys, the way they're playing there. I mean, you look at Terry the other night; that was just sensational. And I could see him doing that again to a Detroit defense that is Jekyll and Hyde. They're thinking a little more offense these days as well. So it could be sloppy game and defensive ends there. I might lean towards an over, but I'm going to stick with the Jimmy puck line on this.
Yeah, he might not be back tonight, Zegras, potentially. The site I use for this kind of info is pretty damn good. They're not wrong very often, but I've got him in tonight, Trevor Zegras. So keep an eye on that. Stolarz definitely is the goalie, by the way, tonight for Anaheim.
Okay.
His numbers are good. I mean, 6-2-2, 2.13 goals against average, 932 save percentage. We got to stop referring to him as a below average backup option. He's played like a very good backup goalie this year for the Anaheim Ducks. And of course, he's going to get the start because Gibson I think Gibson's been added to COVID protocol, it looks like. Yes. So that could be an issue right now.
I'll tell you what, Yahoo Fantasy Hockey still has Zegras on IR. They won't let me put him into my lineup.
Wow. Yeah, he's exited protocol, and the sites that I'm seeing have him on the top in the lineup and on their top 6
okay,
tonight.
Good to know.
So, but keep an eye on that.
That makes me say Anaheim even more.
Yeah, they've got him with Max Comtois, Zegras, and Terry on the top line tonight.
Wow.
The Anaheim Ducks, which is one hell of a top line. Look, Max Comtois has got great skill. Zegras is out, official from the Ducks. Okay, says Caro. So, all right. Well, like if the coach is saying he's out, then we got to believe the coach. Yeah. Well, okay. I see it now. Will not play tonight. He's out of COVID protocol.
Day-to-day. He's out of COVID protocol, but now listed as day-to-day. So you weren't wrong about him being out of COVID, Ian, but you were wrong about him playing tonight.
He is out. That is confirmed. He is not playing tonight, Trevor Zegras. So that's probably why then we've seen the slew of Detroit money. But that's why I'm passing the game. I made the right decision to pass because I was leaning Anaheim, but now without Zegras, I'm a little more lukewarm on that. So pass for me. Andrew, you got anything here? Red Wings and Ducks.
I actually like the Red Wings here. I think it's a good price, and I'm looking to kind of bet against this Ducks team in their next several games here on the schedule. So I don't know. Call me a hater, but I just don't know if they can maintain what they did in the first month and a half, 2 months of the NHL season. So I think in some spots like this, we're going to get a young team like Detroit that has speed and proven they can do well. We'll see if they can do it tonight.
We will. I mean, that was a good win against San Jose, and I took Detroit the other night against San Jose at home in that game. I figured they got to get a win here. They're going on a road trip out west after that San Jose game, and they came to play and were good. We'll see if they can bring that kind of performance tonight against Anaheim. All right, 200 live viewers, by the way, on YouTube. We haven't had that very often. Hit the like button. We appreciate it. Everyone tuning in here to the Ice Guys on this big Thursday card with 11 games. And we have reached the 11th and final game of this Thursday card, Nashville and Los Angeles. We've got the Predators minus 135 road favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. The Nashville Predators, one of the surprises really of this season, 21-13. They have certainly played far better than I ever expected coming into the year. They've now won 2 in a row against Chicago and Vegas. We'll see if they can carry it over here. 8-2 in their last 10 games against the Kings, who suddenly have won 3 of their last 4. They went through a little bit of a funk for a bit, but they beat Washington. They lost to Vegas, no shame in that. And then they beat the Canucks and the Flyers in back-to-back games. Should be an interesting one to see how this one goes. But Nashville expected to have Saros in between the pipes, and no confirmed goalie yet for LA, but expected to be Jonathan Quick for them going into this game. Like I say, with the Predators, it's been very impressive to see how they've played. Philip Forsberg, of course, scored 2 of the goals Tuesday night in the victory against Vegas. With him back, they're certainly better. Trennan's been good. By the way, keep a look on this here. Tanner Jeannot for the Nashville Predators. Start looking at goal scorer props with him. This guy has really been a spark for the Predators of late. He's found the back of the net. He's always getting chances. He's always around the front of the net, the dirty areas of the ice. It's where you got to go to score goals. So keep an eye on him. And don't forget that name, Tanner Jeannot for the Nashville Predators, playing quite well right now. Maybe someone you target for value for goal scoring props. Lean is to Nashville here in this game, but minus 135. Don't love the price. And by the way, there's this one series history where it actually has trended to the under. 4 of the last 5 meetings with these two teams have gone under the total. Predators have dominated the series history, 8-1 in the last 9 times they've played the LA Kings. So I lean Nashville, but probably going to stay off with the price being where it is, minus 135 in this one. Jimmy, what are your thoughts here? Predators, Kings.
Another one. I mean, Nashville, right? I mean, at what point am I going to finally buy into these guys? I think it's now. Give me a Jimmy puck line on the Nashville Predators here. And man, Saros is another guy, right? We don't talk about him much, but you might want to look at some Vezina Trophy odds for him right now for a future, because I think he's climbing right up the ladder there.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a great season, and he's a good goalie.
Yeah,
it was
nobody really talks about him.
Yeah, it was consistency, Jimmy, with him earlier in his career. He'd have some great games, and he'd have some clunkers as well. But he's been a lot more consistent one night to the next. 17-9-2. His record this year, 2.23 goals against, 921 save percent. He was phenomenal. He's the main reason that lead stood up against Vegas the other night, 3-2. 41 saves on 43 Golden Knights shots in that game. Great night in net for Saros, and continuing what's been a pretty good season for him. Andrew, what are your thoughts here, Nashville, LA?
I'm going to give it a big old X here. It's a pass for me on this game.
All right, it's a pass for Andrew in this one. That's kind of the way I felt. Like, I don't want to go against Nashville, but coming off the big win with Vegas, minus 135, but I certainly don't want to go against them right now. It's been an impressive run of hockey, 8-2 in the last 10 for the Predators. Great stuff. I love these shows with so many games. It's just great analysis. You talk everything out and you feel better about your picks going into night and your bets. That's the way I always feel when we have these big shows for the bigger slates here on the Ice Guys. But great stuff with Andrew and with Jimmy. Let's wrap up the show as we always do with best bets. Jimmy, we'll start with you. What do you like here and good call, Jimmy. Blues and Penguins. We got to actually take a minute here to
definitely
congratulate Jimmy for nailing the shit out of that game last night. He liked the over as his best bet.
Yeah.
He liked Jordan Kyrou to score. He liked Evan Rodriguez to score. They both get on the score sheet, find the back of the net.
I got the first period
Jimmy.
over too. I ended up adding that at the last minute. Yeah, that game treated me well, and thankfully, because the other game did not treat me that well. I know, guys, I hated on that with the minus 2.5, but I'm conflicted here, guys. I really, like I said, I'm really high on the Wild tonight, but I think I'm going to go west with the late game there and say the Rangers is a money line underdog in Vegas.
All right, New York Rangers plus 130 against Vegas. I certainly like the price. I like the spot. Vegas is still shorthanded, and now we've seen them lose 2 in a row with some of these key players out. The Winnipeg loss, the Nashville loss. Will it stretch into tonight? We'll see. Jimmy liking the Rangers plus 130 against Vegas for his best bet. Andrew, what do you like here for best bet, which has been good for you lately on this show?
Yeah, I'll try and keep it going. I'm kind of going to the chalkboard here today with this one, but it's one that worked all the way dating back, last week and a half. Dallas, Florida, first period over 1.5, Ian. If it ain't broke, don't try and fix it here. I look for Dallas. Haven't played a game in a very long time. In Florida, we know what they can do. Over 1.5 first period.
All right, Florida, Dallas, over 1.5 in the first period. That is Andrew McInnis with his best bet for this Thursday slate. And my best bet's going to be Columbus, New Jersey, over 6.5. I mean, I think he kind of sensed I was going to go in that direction for best bet, simply because, it was the first bet that came to my mind when I started looking at this Thursday card last night. And I still love it at the price. I mean, you got Blackwood fighting the puck in net for the Devils. Korpisalo is just a mess, and the blue line's an even bigger mess in front of him for Columbus right now. I think you get goals both ways. Columbus, New Jersey, over 6.5 for my best bet here on this Thursday NHL card. That'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys, a monster edition as it always is on these big slates. We thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube. We appreciate it very much. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Download the podcast whenever you can't watch the Ice Guys live. For Andrew McInnis, Jimmy Murphy, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Thursday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow on Friday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.